Hello there, and you're welcome to Star Chat. My name is Bolare, right here on your award-winning show, yes, Personality Profile Show, where legacies are honored, stories get to unfold, and the voices shaping the world, they get to come alive. Destiny is not for the comfort seekers. Destiny is for the daring and determined who are indeed willing to endure some discomfort, delay gratification, and they go where destiny leads. Bishop T.D. Jakes said this many years ago, and how profound this is in our time. Well, tonight on the show, we're celebrating a great couple. I'll be telling you more about them, but I want to actually start off with the husband. Yes, the man, the legend, I call him. Pastor Tori Roberts is a force in his own right, a bridge between faith and innovation, if you ask me. And he's the founder of a Porter's House Church in Los Angeles, one of the most dynamic congregations in America today. Born in Oakland, raised by resilience and built by bold faith. He's a best-selling author of Purpose, Awakening, Wholeness, and Balance. Well, this evening he gets to tell us all about it. And I say that his wisdom resonates beyond and, of course, through podcasts, books, stages around the world, equipping leaders, creatives, and everyday people, that's everyday dreamers who live with intention. Beyond the church, our guest is a trailblazer in tech and as well as business. As a founder of 818 Investments, he's pioneering ventures in biotech, health, and education, proving that faith and innovation can indeed go hand in hand. Well, we get to know more about how faith and innovation gets to go hand in hand on the show today. Prepare for a conversation wrapped in grace, dipped in wisdom, and ignited with purpose. This is Star Chat. And of course, his better half will be joining us along the way. But you're most welcome, Pastor Tori. How are you?
I'm outstanding.
Great. You just got, a Ghanaian name right here on this great soil of ours. Yeah. And what's the name? We get to know.
I'm going to mispronounce it, but well, you can edit it. What is it? How do you?
Kweku. So you're born on a Wednesday.
Born on Wednesday.
Born on a Wednesday, yeah. So you are Kweku.
Kweku.
Fantastic. Yeah. And of course, your wife will be joining us, the adorable Pastor Starr, Jakes Roberts will be joining us later on the show.
Right.
But tell us about your first impressions about this great continent, even before Ghana.
Well, it's powerful. I was asked, why did you choose to come to Ghana? And I said, I didn't choose to come to Ghana. Ghana chose me. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, Kwame Anku, and the unfolding of the conversation ended up with me being here. But I feel at home. Typically when I go somewhere, particularly overseas, I'm counting the days to go home. I forgot what day I'm going home.
Really?
I feel so at home here. So it feels wonderful.
Isn't that beautiful? So tonight we talk legacy, we talk healing, we talk purpose on this show. So once again, we say to you, Akwaba, which means welcome.
Medasi.
And you know what you have to say?
Medasi.
You passed the test, my brother. Thank you. So let's talk about the kingdom, faith, and all that you're doing. What actually drove you into ministry, Tori?
Before I was in ministry, I was in business, and I was succeeding in the tech industry. I had my own company in the tech industry. I was fulfilled outwardly and economically, but not inwardly. Wow. And I recognized that. And so as a grown man, I truly gave my heart to the Lord. God moved fast on me. I planted a church. The church grew. I thought that I was supposed to leave business altogether and do ministry. And the Lord said, no, I didn't train you in business to leave it. I trained you in business to later transform it.
This is profound, because then you're ministering to some of us that, yes, you love the Lord, you can also go and do it. Don't just leave business entirely. So there's a great mix. You can mix business with serving the Lord well. Is that doable and possible, as you have actually exhibited?
Absolutely, because business is about influence. People think that business is all about money. Business is about influence and infrastructure. If you do business and you are economically well off, it gives you influence in the hearts and the homes. Think about entertainment. That's right. Entertainment is in every home. So if entertainment is kingdom, then kingdom is in every home. The same goes true for Amazon or anything like that. And so I believe that Jesus said, do business until I return. So it has never been separate. It comes down to your why.
You know what, we should always get you maybe once a week on a podcast and get it broadcasted to the world globally, because you speak the truth and you speak wisdom. But tell me, Pastor Roberts, when the lights are off and the mic is down, who are you?
I think I'm a servant. I feel like there's a passage that says, to whom much is given, much is required. My life feels like a debt. It feels like a debt to my mother, you know, to my wife, to my family, and to the world. I've been exposed to business. I've been exposed to ministry. I've been exposed to technology, biotech, so many things. And I didn't come from those type of beginnings. And so why did God expose me to all of that, if not to give it to those that can make a difference? And so I'm a servant, whether it's taking my kids to school, cooking them breakfast in the morning, or making certain that my wife gets some relief so that she can do what she needs to do. At the end of the day, my heart is to serve.
You're a good cook?
No.
I'll put you to the test.
No. No. Well, I'm a good cook at 2 or 3 dishes.
Which are?
So does that qualify?
Oh, of course.
Look, steak, potatoes, and salad.
Wow.
I'm good at breakfast, just about every form of breakfast.
Okay.
That's about it. I make you a good tuna
see
sandwich.
My wife is smiling right there. She'll have the time of
Because she's a cook.
She's a cook.
She's a cook.
All right.
She's a cook.
So when you first set foot on your path as a pastor, you know, and a leader, did you ever envision this life, you know, going into ministry, married to Sarah Jakes Roberts, and pastoring one of the most progressive ministries in the whole of the world?
I never saw it. What I did do was I said yes to God, but I thought the yes was just to obey him. I didn't realize that it was a loaded surrender. And so for me, ministry was just the organic overflow of my personal relationship with God. And I believe that once he knew he could trust me to say yes, he just began to open many doors, not the least of which is now being appointed to the senior pastor along with my wife of our father's ministry.
That's right. And it's great. We'll talk about it some more. But when we actually put it out there, the poster, the flyer that you are coming to Ghana, your union is like an inspiration to many because you're impacting life. Now, let's talk about you and Pastor Sarah. Your union has inspired millions. How you carry about your work and all of that. What would you say is the foundation of your love and ministry partnership?
Friendship.
Friendship.
Friendship. Yeah. We are best friends. When Sarah and I got together, she was not Sarah Jakes Roberts. She was not pastor. She was a beautiful, brilliant, bright woman with a great following on blog. We didn't get together to do ministry. We got together because we loved each other. As a fact, there was a moment where I thought maybe I'll spend more time in business. And I even brought that up to her.
Really?
I said, if I decided to transition completely into business, would you be okay? Because I had been hurt a little bit. And she was fine with that. But as we begin to walk together, the greater purpose of our union began to unfold.
Amazing, I should say. And that is it. So the core thing, underlining factor is friendship.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the bottom line for us, we're friends. A lot of times when you are in a marriage, I think a successful marriage is like a house, and it should have many rooms, right? It can't always be the lover's room because, you know, even though there's love, you're not in a loving mood. You know, it can't always be, you know, you need to have multiple rooms. Friendship. We're also business partners. You know, we have companies together. We have ministries together, and so there's a lot of rooms. And just like any house, the more space you have, sometimes the better off you'll be. The more rooms.
I can call you a man for all seasons, and you have a great woman to support and understand
Yes.
and work with you. How do you balance being a husband, a father, a co-leader in a spiritual movement without losing your own identity and voice?
That's very amazing. That's a great question. So I transparently, when I really perceived God's hand on Sarah with speaking and doing and moving and doing some things, I took a unique posture, not to be less, but to make certain that I supported her more. Because I'm the type of person, I just want to see the grace of God. So I think at the end of the day, for me, it's about, God, what are you doing? And my job is to not always be on the front end of what you're doing, but to use my gifts, my talents, my influence, whatever it might be, to serve what you're doing. And so for me, you know, we did a video that went viral, and it showed us back to back. And I said, sometimes I'm in the front, and she's got my back. And then we turned around, and sometimes she's in the front. And for me, that's how it is. We both pray, God, what are you doing, and who is up to bat? And whoever's up to bat, the other one comes behind and supports.
You know, you're a different man. You're a man for all seasons, like I earlier mentioned, because it's not all men in this age and time that will understand that, look, let me support my woman to be out there at the front many times, and sometimes I'm in there. But you're a powerful man. And that is it. Just by being behind the scenes and pushing, that's a great man. And we salute you for that.
Thank you.
In all of this, what has marriage, you know, being married to a powerful woman, taught you about love, patience, and purpose?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that love, the foundation of it is love. And because we love each other, because I love her, it gives me a reason to be patient. If you don't have deep roots, if you don't have deep love, if you don't have a reason, then you're not going to be patient. It's not worth it.
That's right. That's right.
But she's worth patience.
Right.
She's worth patience. You know, she's worth purpose. But I want to go back to something that you said about men and supporting their wives. You know, there's a Joseph in the Bible that everybody wants to be like. The Prince of Egypt, rich, powerful, number 2, you know, doing his thing, running everything. And everybody wants to be him. But there's another Joseph that I believe was even more powerful. And it was the Joseph who created an environment for Mary, who was carrying Jesus. Okay? If he would have put her away, it could have thwarted the plan of God. So who was more powerful? The second in command in Egypt, or the one who birthed the Messiah, or who facilitated the birth? And so what I've come to understand, for me, it's about impact. I'm a business guy. It's about impact. Where do we get the most impact? And so, you know, for me, I just put ego at bay and say, God, I want impact. And I believe that since he knows he can trust me, he brought a woman of impact into my life.
I love that. I mean, that is it. A man of impact. Simple.
Yeah.
That is it. So let's get into the church a bit. Today, you talk to many of the youth out there, and if you will, the church has lost its relevance. So why should I go to church and all of that? Do you believe that the church is today doing enough to address societal issues? I mean, identity, we all know, purpose among millennials and Gen Zs, even mental health crisis. Is the church doing enough?
You know, I think that some churches are. I think many churches are. I think maybe some churches could stand to come out of being so inward focused and being more outward focused. And that's how you lose touch. You lose touch when you build something, it becomes wonderful, and then it becomes more of a community than a movement. I believe that a church is to be a movement. Now, if you're going to be a movement, then you have to be out. You have to be studying. You have to be studying the culture. The Bible says that he who wins souls is wise. And watch this. Not wise because he won a soul, but that it takes wisdom
To win a
to
soul.
win a soul, right? And so when we start talking about mental health and we start talking about understanding what the questions of the day are, as a church, and I'm going to bring it back into business terms, a successful business solves problems, right? It's very solutions oriented. They study, they look at the data, they study the trends so that they can have impact. I think that if a church is to be successful, they have to adapt some approaches that the business community uses and succeeds by.
So the church should adapt to that. Yeah.
I don't mean theology. I don't mean what they're about. But I'm saying strategy.
Yeah.
The strategy. The strategy is to learn, to convince, to compel. Paul would say things like, I beseech you, I urge you. So how can you compel if you don't even know your audience?
Interesting twist to all of that. So that is important for many leaders or church leaders to also know how to convince, compel, maybe persuade people to do things the right way. And you talk about purpose. It leads me to that as well, because your messages, I've watched many of your messages, and you get to touch on purpose, brokenness leading to breakthrough and all of that. How can someone begin to walk in this with all that you say when it comes to purpose?
I think it begins with a fundamental belief that they have a purpose. And it's really, if you look around, everything around you has purpose. The chairs, the couch, this lovely couch that we're sitting on has purpose. The cell phone has purpose. The car you drive has purpose. Your toothbrush has purpose. Toilet paper has purpose. So you mean to tell me everything in life has purpose but you? And so I think that the moment that you begin to believe that you have purpose, it postures you to pursue it. And of course, I wrote the book Purpose Awakening about it. But it begins with, I have a purpose. And if I have a purpose, then it is unacceptable for me to live life without finding it.
In all of this, many are also saying, well, Portes is out there in the States doing well. Now you're in Ghana, Africa. Are you considering maybe planting a branch of your ministry in Africa or collaborating with African faith leaders on future missions?
I think that there are incredible churches in Ghana here already. So the need to plant something is not on the radar.
Okay.
But to serve in any way that I can, whether it's the church or nonprofits or outreaches, or I'm curious about the business opportunities here in Ghana. Not so much on the church plant. That I don't feel that, but to support and to serve and to learn more than anything. I'm here in Ghana to do more than anything else is to learn. It feels home, but I want to know what home is.
What a home is.
What home is.
I know you've been on the continent, you've been to South Africa, now you're in Ghana, you've been to Nigeria before. What are your impressions, and I mean genuine impressions of the continent?
Oh, the continent is bursting with potential, and I feel in each place. I almost broke out in tongues right there, but I'm sorry. But everywhere I go, it feels pregnant.
Wow.
It feels like something very incredible is up. I feel like the continent is becoming fully ripe. And
that is prophetic and divine.
Yeah.
And I sense that as well.
Yeah.
So you feel that, yes, there's a lot in Africa that we're yet to explore.
Oh my God. And I got to tell you, there are some outside of Africa that have overlooked Africa. They've overlooked. They go here and they go there, or I want to be here, I want to be there. They've overlooked. And so in some places, the foolish have made Africa last. But
don't say that again. I love that.
The foolish have made Africa last.
Because they don't know what Africa has,
Because they don't know what Africa has. But even if they were right, the Bible says the last shall be first. And the first last. Now, I don't think that they're right. We've slept on the birthplace of civilization.
Right.
There's a hidden glory. There's a hidden glory on the continent that godly men and godly women are committed to uncovering.
Wow.
And we're in the timing of God, and I think that we're going to see incredible things.
And the time is now. We'll be wrapping up shortly and bringing up on set your wife as well. But I want to know from you, as a father, what's that one value or principle that you hope to pass on to your children, especially in this era of digital noise, in terms of identity challenges? You're a great dad, and you are into IT as well. Everything that's happening with AI. What would be that message, especially in this era?
The message would be, there is a you that God foreknew that has already overcome everything that you will ever face in life and has already solved every problem you ever have. And you just need to lean into God to find that you.
You just need to lean on God.
Lean into God to find that you. There's a you that is already won. I'll share this.
Please do.
Jeremiah 1, before I formed you, I knew you. The word that was translated formed literally means to squeeze into shape. That does not sound comfortable. But the comfort in it is that even when life feels like it's squeezing you, you have already been anointed to overcome. So yes, you feel squeezed, but you're being squeezed into posture.
You're so deep. I want this conversation to go on, because before you were formed, and you were talking about the formation, not just being created or anything, but you were squeezed to shape.
Yes. Yes. God says, before I formed you, I knew you. So I've already seen you complete. So even in that moment where you feel like, I can't breathe, oh, not only will you breathe, you will survive and you will come forth like gold. I want them to know that.
So what do you love the most, preaching or writing?
Ooh. Oh, wow.
I got you.
You did?
Yes.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Preaching.
Preaching.
And here's why. Preaching, I get to see people transform right in front of my eyes.
Oh, yes.
Writing, I have to imagine it.
Bless you.
But I do love both.
What's your go-to worship song now? I mean, if I should catch you right there, what would be Pastor Roberts? Every day, any day, what's that great worship song?
Oceans.
Oceans.
by Hillsong.
Yes,
Spirit lead
lead
me
me.
where my faith is
Are
without
you a good singer?
borders.
Give us one or two of that. Spirit
oh, no.
lead me.
So you're better than me. I'm gonna put the microphone. I'm a worshiper, but I'm not a singer.
Okay.
And I think every pastor should be a worshiper. But oceans.
Oceans. You love that 100%. I mean, they are you.
I love it because my life is I'm always in the deep, and so I have to learn to love the ocean, and not be afraid of deep waters.
What's the best advice Sarah has ever given you? Oh,
that's a great question.
Yes.
The best
advice from Sarah to you
that Sarah has ever given to me, I can't put it into words.
Okay.
But I can tell you the essence of it. It has to do with being a father. It's to the effect of, no matter your intentions, the way that you show up for your children, the impact is greater than the intention. Meaning that if your intention is one thing, but the result is another, then you have to change your strategy so that you can get the result regardless of your intention. So in other words, if I talk to them in a certain way, my desire is that they grow, that they learn, that they flourish. But if on the other end of that conversation, they're receiving it as criticism, then I failed. So to be diligent in learning how they receive and then tailoring my communication in a way that gets the outcome that I'm looking for based on their hearing style.
Interesting. And that's one advice that she's given you in terms of how you communicate and get to the children, right?
Yes.
All right, then. Before I move quickly to her, one Bible verse that you return to again and again.
Shall I bring to the time of birth and not cause delivery? That's in Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah 49, don't quote me, but it says, shall I bring to the time of birth and not bring forth delivery? In other words, everything that I promised you, am I an unjust God that would bring you all the way up to the brink of birth and not cause delivery? Because in life, sometimes we get all the way up to the edge, and that's when it gets the hardest. You're at the moment of breakthrough, so it's going to be hard because you're pressing through a threshold. And in those moments, the enemy tries to get you to quit. But God says, shall I bring you up to this? You got this far. You've overcome this and that and this and that, and you're here. Shall I bring you to this point and not cause delivery? It's a game changer for me.
And for you, you go to it over and over again.
Over and over again.
Pastor Roberts, we'll be catching up with you so soon, very soon. But of course, we'll invite Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts to join us as well. But you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bless
you.
brother. I appreciate you.
It's been great. Some exciting news from Starr Assurance. Celebrate 40 years with us at Starr Assurance. And there's a Starr Assurance 40 Reasons to Smile promotion. From now till the end of the year, you could be one of our many lucky winners to walk away with a whooping cash prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis in our quarterly draws. And it's a grand prize as well. Remember to enjoy a luxury trip to Dubai. So the luxury of Dubai. It's simple. If you want to participate, visit our online portal at customer.starassurance.com, or you can call us on 0302 751 333. That's 0302 751 333 to buy or renew your existing motor insurance policy. And you can also walk into any of our branches nationwide. Be a lucky winner today. Starr Assurance, your solid partner. And remember, this promotion is in conjunction with the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform. Starr Assurance 40 Reasons to Smile promotion. And time for me to tell you about MTN. Exciting news from MTN. Well, it's simple. Let me just walk you through it. If you're looking for a smarter, more secure, and eco-friendly way to stay connected, it's time to live seamlessly with MTN's eSIM. Enjoy the ultimate convenience of multiple numbers on one phone, switching seamlessly without swapping SIM cards, and activate it instantly from your home or My MTN app. You can now experience enhanced security with an embedded eSIM that can't be stolen or damaged. Plus, you get to play your part in contributing to a greener planet. It's simple. Just dial star hash 06 hash. That's star hash 06 hash to check your phone's eligibility and download my MTN app to go seamless with MTN eSIM today. If you have any inquiries, kindly call 100 or contact any of our digital channels. My people, well, time for me to tell you about Yellow Thursdays. Thursdays are now extra special on MTN. Yes, Thursdays you get more exciting goodies because from now on you get 25% discount on your first data bundle purchase of the day. So when you bundle on my MTN app or use star 138 hash this and every Thursday on MTN is saying that look, something great awaits you. And you know what? It's not just enough for a lovely customer like you. So they're offering free extra movie tickets when you pay with Momo at Silverbird Cinemas right here in Accra or West Hills Mall. So you out there, wonderful people in the great Garden City, that's Kumasi, you are getting your free tickets at the Golden Cinemas at the Kumasi Mall. If you ask me, I think your movie dates are now sorted out. Yes, from now on. This is what we call a sweet deal. Set your reminders bundle on my MTN or star 138 hash and make the best of your 25% first data bundle discount and visit the cinemas. Use your Momo and you get free extra movie tickets on MTN's Yellow Thursday. You're most welcome to your #1 award-winning personality show, Star Chat. And my name is Bolare. It is a testament to grace, purpose, and divine alignment. I'm talking about none other than Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, a true phoenix, a mother of 14, but never a victim of her story. She rose from public pain to global purpose. Imagine as a visionary preacher, CEO of Woman Evolve, and a New York Times best-selling author whose words have become balm to a broken generation. Whether in sneakers or in heels, behind a pulpit or on a podcast, Sarah is defining what it means to lead with authenticity, courage, and compassion. Daughter of the legendary Bishop T.D. Jakes and Sarita Jakes, she's carving her own bold path, fearless, relatable, and refreshingly real. She co-pastors One and the Potter's House, Denver, alongside her husband, and serves as assistant pastor at the Potter's House of Dallas. Her influence is global. It is digital. It's disruptive in the best way you can call it, with sold-out conferences, viral messages, and transformational books like Woman Evolve and Don't Settle for Safe. She's not just preaching sermons. She's starting revolutions. Well, recently, in a moment of generational significance, her father passed the leadership mantle into her and her husband's hands, signaling a new era at the Potter's House. Pastor Sarah Jakes, you're most welcome.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
Mrs. Roberts, lovely to have you.
Thank you.
Great. So tell us about, your first impression of the continent, the African continent as well.
The continent as
Right.
a whole, my goodness. I think that what I've learned in my trips to Nigeria, South Africa, and now Ghana is that each part of the continent has its own expression, its own identity, its own culture to behold, and we're really enjoying getting to know Ghana.
Fantastic. So connecting with a global audience that has followed your journey from afar, how does that make you feel? Because I watch you either on Instagram, yes, on social media, and the connect is so, engaging. They love it. How does that make you feel?
Oh goodness, I didn't anticipate that. When I started attracting people to my journey, I thought that it would just be something where people were watching from afar.
Right.
But I think people felt connected to what God was doing in my life and felt like it was a reflection of what could happen in their life. And honestly, it just feels like an honor that they would trust me with some of their most vulnerable moments.
Indeed, an honor. Your husband mentioned that it's a life filled with impact.
Yeah.
For you, when you reflect on your journey, teen mom to best-selling author, pastor, founder of Woman Evolve, what emotion rises first within you? Gratitude, surprise, responsibility, Sarah?
Definitely responsibility, but gratitude. gratitude. My life has taken on a shape and a form that I never thought possible, that I never desired. I can't say that I'm living out my dreams because this is not something that I ever dreamed of.
You're not living your dreams at all.
No, I didn't imagine that my life would look like this in any way. I wanted to be an administrative assistant. I just wanted to be someone's secretary and to take care of my son.
Wow.
And so to live out God's vision for my life has been something that brings me gratitude each
At
day.
what point do you see that, turning point or that change and say, look, God, I'm yours. I'm that vessel. Use me.
I started writing a blog that I thought would just be my own personal diary online, and it attracted over 1 million views within 3 months. And I felt like this feels like more than just a diary.
Amazing.
This feels like something that's helping people. And I'm like, Lord, if I have to be in ministry, if you're going to make me do it, let me be authentic, let it be real, and let it be something that people can relate to.
You know what, I've often seen it, and it's done. I like it and I cherish it. You're often introduced as the daughter of Bishop T.D. Jakes, but you've built a distinct voice and ministry of your own. At what point did you decide, well, this is my path, this is my voice?
I don't know that I ever made that decision. I think that I had to trust God every step of the way. I think that a part of me probably felt like I'd always be in my father's shadow in some way, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The beautiful part about being in the shadow is that you don't have to take on so much of the heat. And so I have enjoyed that. But I think that God has also affirmed me in my identity without a platform, without books, without a stadium. I felt comfortable in who I was. And so people's perception of me from the outside looking in doesn't have a lot to do with my perception of me from the inside looking out.
Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed? Sometimes you feel like, well, God, why me? Because of maybe the noise outside. You get consumed by it.
I think that I probably feel like why me, less because of the noise and more because of my own inner voice and insecurities. To me, the only time insecurity from the outside has an impact is when it echoes an insecurity that already exists on the inside. And so other people's criticism only hurts because it's something that I'm trying to unravel in my own thought process, which is offering me another opportunity to take on God's thoughts about who I am and what my life is.
And you and Pastor Tori recently you've been announced as the next senior pastors of Potter's House, following your father's, historic decision to pass on the torch. What does this moment mean to you personally? I know you said it. We all watched the handing over, if you want to call it. How was it like on that day, standing on that stage with Pastor Tori, and you know that, look, this is the time for you personally?
There was a lot of mixed emotions. I've seen my father pour so much of his life into that ministry, and I recognized a sense of grief that stage of his life was transitioning into something different, but also a real sense of responsibility and stepping up. I had a lot of stress and anxiety before the announcement. Once we
you did?
Oh, yes.
Walk us through that moment briefly. How was it like coming on that stage with your husband and in front of the world?
I think I was prepared for rejection. Who doesn't love Bishop T.D. Jakes, And to hear that he's going to be stepping down and these people are going to be your pastor, I'm like, guys, just bear with us. We'll get there. But to hear people say we're in great hands, they've got this, and we're going to miss you, Bishop, but we're looking forward to what's next. I think that I wasn't prepared for the warm reception that we received.
And that is very profound as well, because, during the installation, Bishop Jakes said it, and I quote him, "This is not an inheritance, this is a calling."
Yes.
Can you share what this statement means to you personally and how it has impacted your sense of purpose?
I will tell you, even before making the announcement publicly, I had to ask God over and over again, are you sure this is the direction for my purpose and my anointing? Whereas some people who are ambitious would look at the Potter's House as a come up or a promotion. I saw it very clearly as something that requires sacrifice and also something that comes with a lot of responsibility. And I wanted to make sure that God was in it. I didn't want it because I was T.D. Jakes' daughter. I only wanted it if God said I was anointed to do it. And God made clear that the call was not to do it because I was T.D. Jakes' daughter, but to do it because I was God's daughter. And if I trusted God to father me, if I trusted God to pour into me, to lead me, to give me wisdom and guidance, that his results would manifest through my effort, and it wouldn't necessarily be anything we had to manufacture.
If you had heard a different voice, would you have said no to Dad and your husband?
Yes,
you would have?
Yes.
Or you'd have waited and said, well, maybe it is not appointed time?
No, I think if God would have made it clear that it wasn't us, I would have certainly, moved on. I don't want to be anywhere God is not. I don't care how appealing it is, how great it looks for someone else's, from someone else's vantage point of God's and I don't want it.
Bless you. You know, in a world where many are losing hope, especially the youth, you know it, what does your faith get to tell you about the power of divine restoration?
I think it starts with authenticity. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking about all of the encounters that Jesus had throughout the Bible. He first gave people permission to be themselves. And I think we're so afraid of people's authenticity that we ask them to perform or escape, perform or exit. And I think that people are tired of performing, and so they have settled for authenticity that's not necessarily what God wants, but from authenticity, God can transform them. And I said, if we can do a better job of meeting people where they are, I think we can create space for God to transform them.
Exactly, and well said. Well, we'll be wrapping up shortly, but we'll get a bit into family and all of that. But you've openly spoken about your past and the trials that you've faced. How do you balance transparency and protection as a public figure in ministry?
I don't share things that I'm not healed from. I like to share scars, not wounds. And so if it's still something that I'm processing and healing through, I keep it to myself until I have victory there.
And we bless you for that. You say that during Woman Evolve, it's become a global movement. I'm looking forward to a fan club right here in Ghana. You should meet the ladies. But what inspired you to create this platform?
I got a revelation about Eve, that she knew better but didn't do better, but that God didn't abandon her in that. And I felt like it was a message that every woman should know, that no matter how many times you've messed up or been hurt, that you can evolve from that point and that God's still got a plan for your life.
Right. So wrapping it all up, how do you balance being a mother, wife, pastor, CEO, and what advice will you give to women out there who are striving to find that balance, Sarah?
My advice is when everything feels hard and tough and overwhelming, take a nap. That fixes it about 60% of the time.
Oh, take a nap.
Take a nap. Rest. Sometimes our decisions aren't at their best because we're so busy being overworked. So to unplug, take a minute and reset, and then allow yourself to look at your world with fresh perspective.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Preaching in heels or sneakers?
Heels.
One book that changed your life?
The Bible.
The Bible.
Yes.
One moment that you'll never forget?
When I met my husband.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Pastor
you.
Sarah.
Thank
And it's a
you.
wrap of this one. Thank you so much for
My
blessing us.
pleasure.
And we know Ghana will not forget this historic moment.
Thank
We wish you the very best. You and Pastor Tori, your husband. And we say keep on keeping on. God
Thank you
bless
so much.
Amazing.
God bless you.